Anthony Bourdain, who was found dead Friday in an apparent suicide, opened his viewers' eyes to issues within and beyond the borders of the United States through food. He also championed many of the communities that affected his work in the kitchen and on screen. Whether it was global poverty, systemic racism in America or sexual abuse of women in the workplace, Bourdain frequently used the publicity he earned through his celebrity to draw attention to the issues affecting the people behind the food that he brought into Americans' living rooms. Here are some examples on the impact of undocumented immigrants to the restaurant industry. In a 2015 interview with Pete Dominick on Sirius XM, Bourdain discussed the anti-immigration views many Americans were expressing as Donald Trump's candidacy ascended, calling the desire to build a border wall ridiculous. Dominick asked Bourdain, "What is your point of view of these undocumented immigrants? Like a lot of other white kids, I rolled out of a prestigious culinary institute and went to work in real restaurants," he replied. "I walked into restaurants and the person always who'd been there the longest, who took the time to show me how it was done, was always Mexican or Central American." The television personality went on to suggest that, if undocumented immigrants were deported, as Trump suggested during the 2016 presidential campaign, that would have a real economic impact on the restaurant industry. "If Mr. Trump deports 11 million people, or whatever he's talking about right now, every restaurant in America would shut down," Bourdain added. Anthony Bourdain, chef, writer and roguish culinary adventurer, dies at 61 on the sexual harassment of women in the restaurant industry. Bourdain repeatedly discussed the prevalence of sexual misconduct in the restaurant industry and the role he played in either perpetuating it or not sufficiently addressing it. He reflected on the Number Me Too movement in a Medium post after stories about sexual harassment from restaurateurs Mario Batali and Friedman came to light. He wrote, "On racial discrimination in the restaurant industry." Bourdain discussed some of the biggest challenges in the food industry with Ocean Drive in 2016. When he was asked what's the most important food industry issue nobody is talking about, Bourdain replied, "Racism. In an industry that's always been open to everybody, notoriously so, every refugee and fugitive dysfunctional character in the world could always find a home in a restaurant. Why aren't there more African American chefs and African American cooks represented in the mid to high range restaurants?" he asked. On Trump's voters, Bourdain was an unapologetic liberal who had no problem criticizing conservatism and President Trump. But he understood the power of his show, and following the election he spent time in Trump's America. After visiting West Virginia, he told the Daily Beast in April,